Bafana Bafana coach Hugo Broos gave the spotlight to his backroom staff after the team's third-place finish at the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. The 71-year-old highlighted the importance of having a network of hardworking professionals at the continental showpiece.
You know, when you achieve something like this now, third place, people are talking about the coach and people are talking about the players, but nobody talks about all those other people who work day and night nearly for 4 or 5 weeks. I'm thinking on the medical staff. Those people were working till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning to get the players in good shape again, to give massage, to give treatment. They were always there for the players. So without them, we shouldn't achieve that. And even the kit manager and the security manager and you, Romy, you were part of what we did there. Without you, we shouldn't have done it.
Also, those views shared a bit earlier on at the press conference being held at the OR Tambo International Airport. Our reporter, Vuyo Macoba, is there and he joins us live now from that press conference. Vuyo, is that over and what were the main themes that came out of that?
Good morning to you, Andy, and to the Newzroom Afrika viewers once again. As we heard from that bite from Coach Hugo Broos, just of course sharing his pride in terms of his team. He had mentioned that they had a dream from the initial point when they left South Africa to say they're going to do well at the Africa Cup of Nations. Do well not just for themselves, but also for the South African fans, because that's also one of the things that Coach Hugo Broos has needed behind him. He hadn't received it since he had been coming in the job, seen some of the games building up to the Africa Cup of Nations where they were playing at the F&B Stadium, even at one point moving to the Moses Mabhida Stadium, and you still saw no fans. Headlines going out after that, him asking for support from fans. So he was just saying that he appreciates the fact that he's seeing a lot of support that has come in here this morning, which shows a sign that they are moving in the right direction as a team. Of course, Ronan Williams as captain speaking the same thing as well, mentioning just the camaraderie inside the camp from the players who picked up the dream of Hugo Broos going to the Africa Cup of Nations, and they made sure that he used the words that they nailed it to the park. And of course, from here on, they will build up as they move on to the World Cup qualifiers. On the other side, SAFA president also coming out and sharing his pride on his side with the South African fraternity for coming out at OR Tambo International Airport. I did pose a question to him, of course, in terms of how much the players are going to receive, or the share of the money that they're going to receive, the players, and he couldn't give me into detail. If you remember correctly, there was a MOA that the players had signed with the federation going into the tournament. We still don't know how much that percentage is. He still says that they're going to have a chat with the players. They are receiving $2.5 million, which is the money that you receive for reaching the semi-finals of the competition, which equates to about 47 million rands. For at least about, from the articles that we've been seeing already, they are mentioning that the players could receive about half. So we're trying to get that, and we didn't get on with it today. But, you know, he said he's going to sit down with the players and also have a chat with them moving forward from here. And of course, the Minister of Sports, Zizi Kodwa, sharing similar sentiments on their side. But I wanted to bring in one of the journalists who was in Cote d'Ivoire with Bafana Bafana throughout the tournament, Mthokozisi Dube, Far Post football editor. Mthokozisi, appreciate your time on Newzroom Afrika. Let's start with that point. I mean, South Africans coming so much to OR Tambo to give their foot support. This is one thing that the national side has needed for long. I remember speaking to you before leaving for Cote d'Ivoire, and this were not the scenes. It's so good to see what we saw today here at OR Tambo, and the fact that it was a 4 a.m. flight landing, for them to come out like this, magnificent.
Beautiful, and good morning to the viewers. Look, I think good performances are rewarded by this kind of support. I mean, all people want. Football is entertainment. When the team plays well, you're bound to have fans following the team. So I think the most important thing now is to then build on this and ensure that they restore the confidence, you know, of the South African public in Bafana Bafana. So it's beautiful to see. It's amazing. I mean, I've had chats with some of the players, and they've actually said, look, this is what we've been waiting for. And but they understand that there is a demand on them to perform for them to keep this kind of support going.
Yeah. Talking about confidence, not just for also just the players on the field of play, but a person that also didn't have support as well was Coach Hugo Broos, coming in, and not just from the fan base, but also even from the PSL side. He had come out lots of time in asking if he could meet up with the PSL teams, if the PSL teams could make, players available for the national side. This is another argument that shows that we're moving in that step where we'd possibly now get that opportunity, because the coaches that are sitting in the domestic leg now are saying, oh, maybe he does have a vision for South African football, and possibly they will reach out from this point on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, before we went to AFCON, I personally questioned a number of things, number of decisions that Coach took in terms of the team that he picked, questioned how he would name a team sitting in Belgium, But having spent the 34 days with the team, spent time closely with him, spoken to him a number of times, you get the sense that he really wants to achieve something. At the start of the competition, he said that they wanted to do something special, and you can see that there is a clear clarity of vision from his part, and I would imagine it's the same with the coaches in the PSL, and the PSL has just moved games in the midweek games. I think that's a step in the right direction, and I feel going forward we're likely to see a bit more support for the coach, because we all want to see this team do well. The World Cup qualifiers are coming. I think the next step, when you ask all the players, they're telling you, listen, we want to get to the World Cup in 2026, and obviously everyone will likely give the coach all the support so that we make 2026.
Thokoza, appreciate your time on Newzroom Africa. I know you must be jet-lagged. Nice life problems, but thank you so much for having a chat with us and wishing you guys all the best. Thokoza Dube, Far Post football editor, just giving us a sense, of course, from having been inside the camp at Bafana Bafana in Cote d'Ivoire through the Africa Cup of Nations tournament. One question, Andy, that I posed to CIC Julius Malemba was in relation to SAFA leadership. You know that we've had conversations in the build-up to this regarding the leadership at SAFA, and they've come out as well as an organization to say that leadership needs to change at some point. He's still sticking to that and saying that despite the fact that Bafana Bafana has achieved this shouldn't be used as a way to mask up the fact that leadership needs to change at SAFA. Danny Jordan, as he says it in his own words, that he must go. But as for Bafana Bafana in the celebrations here at OR Tambo International Port, I say again, in the words of our President Cyril Ramaphosa, the fine words, Uguti, Basebenzi Bafana. Back to you in studio.
Thank you so much to Vuyo Macoba. Basebenzile Abafana there at the OR Tambo International Airport, just sharing some of the thoughts of some of the people that have come out to show their support, and of course what came out of that earlier press briefing. So